Hey, it's a Helmet Collector here, and today's video we're going to take a bit of a different approach than we normally do. Instead of looking at an item or doing an unboxing, we're going to talk a little bit about how to spot real versus fake death cards. It's a question I get all the time here on YouTube, on Reddit, because, people who are interested in starting to collect cards, of course, anything military related, you're automatically worried about fakes, especially when it comes to Third Reich items. And death cards are kind of in a unique place because fakes certainly exist, but they're not particularly common. You generally only see them on more high-end cards, SS cards, like Kriegsmarine cards tied to like battleships, Knight's Cross winners, stuff like that. And even then, they're not particularly common. And, people ask all the time, what's the best way to tell? And really, the best way to tell is through the use of magnification and a scanner and kind of looking at the way that the card's constructed. So if you are getting into collecting death cards, I know it's hard to allocate, $100+ to equipment instead of items for the collection, but a scanner is an absolute must-have. My scanner is nothing fancy. It's an Epson scanner, super cheap. I think it was like a little over $100, years ago when I bought it. I've scanned thousands of items with it. I've never had any issues, and it's still kicking today. Great investment, as we're going to see here. So to start off, we're going to look at the death card of Ludwig Troll. Now, Ludwig kind of has a soft spot in my heart. This was actually my first death card I purchased years and years ago. I'll put a link up above to an absolutely awful, my first death card video was not very good. I didn't really know a lot back then, and yeah, it kind of shows. But Ludwig's pretty interesting. I'll go ahead and put his casualty record up on the screen here. So looking at Ludwig's casualty record here, we see that he's a member of the 5th Company, Feldregiment de Luftwaffe 4, which is actually a part of Luftwaffe Division Meindl, which was the first attempt at creating a Luftwaffe Feld Division. He was killed April 8th, 1942 in Russia by a headshot. And overall, it's an interesting card, probably not one that anybody's going to, spend time faking. But for the sake of this video, I actually went ahead and I did a very high quality scan of this card. I then printed it at the highest quality that my printer could muster and then rescanned it in so that we could see the difference between the original printing techniques and the way that a fake will be printed today. So moving forward here, I'm going to pull up a picture of the original card, zoomed in a couple 100% on some of the text. Okay, so the image we're seeing up on screen here, we've zoomed in to about 200% on some of the text here on the card for Ludwig's name. And right away, you'll notice that with the lettering here, you can see that there's a thicker black inner part, and then near the edge, it gets to like a lighter gray. So this is because of the way that the card was printed back in the day on a old style kind of press. And because of that, the ink is tended to be thicker near the center of the letters. And as you can see, it's just kind of one blob. And that gray border is actually pretty sharp. Even if I were to zoom in a couple hundred more times, it'd still be pretty well defined. So now we're going to switch over. We're going to look at the replica fake death card and kind of look at the differences there. So right off the bat, looking at this, you can see a major difference. So instead of having that nice gradient of thicker black toward the center of the letters and then gray toward the outside, there's a pretty consistent black the whole way through, and you can tell the borders are very undefined. Even at this higher quality scan and print that I have, even though from a distance it looks pretty good, when you get up close like this, you can tell there's a major difference the way this is printed. And that's also even more obvious when we go ahead and look at the photo here. So right now we've zoomed in on the bottom of Ludwig's photo here. And you can actually see we have a bit of like a dot pattern. And this is the original card, so this is the correct kind of printing. Basically, all death card photos are going to look like this on magnification, with the exception of, cards where the photo has been like actually cut out and attached. Obviously, that's going to be different. This is kind of like a two-tone kind of printing technique. I saw a block for sale a long time ago, and I wasn't able to buy it. Essentially, it's like a thin piece of metal with the photo on it and a bunch of holes, and then they, are able to stamp that onto the card, and that's what leads to this pattern. As you can see, it's very well pronounced. It's very easy to tell. This is a pretty consistent pattern across. And what's going to happen here is we're going to look at the fake card. You're going to see a major difference. It's honestly a better tell than the text, at least as far as I'm concerned. Now, looking at the fake card here, you can see a major difference right off the bat. Instead of having that nice clear dot pattern, it's almost like a staticky kind of texture that you see here. And the photo itself, obviously, the colors seem to be a lot darker. The variances aren't as sharp. Just right off the bat, looking from the last photo of this one, you can tell it's a major difference. And so this is honestly, like I said, probably even a better tell because this is something you're going to notice a lot more with either the naked eye, if you have good eyesight, or if you have like a jeweler's loupe, which you should take with you anytime you're going out to shows and things. That should be very obvious on even just a tiny bit of magnification that this is the wrong kind of printing. Now, that being said, I suppose it's possible that there's somebody out there who has a printing press and, some original blanks and is reproducing death cards that way. If there is a person like this out there, give me their contact info, because I'd actually be interested to buy one of their fakes if they're putting that much effort into it. But yeah, overall, death cards are a pretty safe field to be in. Like I said, they're not... They certainly seem to be gaining in popularity, but they're still relatively cheap. There's tons of them out there. I mean, there's probably tens of millions of them out there, from throughout the war, not even counting World War I cards. And, it's a really fun area to collect in. There's a lot of research and cool stuff that you can do. So yeah, don't be too worried about fakes. And if you do buy a card and you look at it, examine it like this, you do determine that you think it's fake, reach back out to the seller. If they're a good seller and you point out to them why you think it's fake, they should be willing to give you a refund. And if they're not, don't spend your money with them. They're not worth your time. So yeah, I hope that this helps you guys, especially like the younger, newer collectors who are really concerned about this. But yeah, overall, enjoy collecting your death cards. Hopefully you guys get some cool stuff for your collection, and hopefully this video is able to help you out. So yeah, thank you all for watching. Please leave a comment down below. Love hearing from you guys. Thank you all for watching. Happy collecting, and I'll see you all again very soon.